Assalamualaikum and Hi. Konnichiwa minasan. Watashi no namae wa Hakim desu. Today, we want to talk about one of the land of rising sun. Guess what is it? From my introduction, we can guess it will be Japan. So, what is Japan? In English, we call it as Japan. However, in Japanese, it's called Nihon or Nippon. Japan is an island country lying off the east coast of Asia and also known as the 11th most populous country in the world, as well as one of the most densely populated and urbanized. About 47 administrative prefectures and 8 traditional regions were divided in Japan. Do you know what is more interesting? Over a century, Japanese food is one of the most popular foods and cuisines around the world. When it comes to food and cuisines, the Japanese are among the most enthusiastic and passionate of any race. Do you know why? One of the reasons the Japanese food and cuisines are famous with the rule of 5, which a traditional Japanese cooking, or we call it as washoku. They emphasize the variety and balance. These rules implemented through the use of 5 colors, 5 cooking techniques, and 5 flavors. In this video, we will share a story. What is the food pattern in Japan? What is their unique foods? What is their ethic about their food? And more. So, keep your eyes on the screen and let's dig in.
So, let's move on to the food pattern in Japan. To make it simple, there are 2 types of Japanese cuisine that influence their food pattern, which are washoku, the balanced traditional dish, and yoshoku is a fusion cuisine where the Western cooking method is used. Okay, for washoku, the staple is rice. It's always together with fish, since another meat is prohibited due to Buddhism religion. Other than fish, tofu is also one of their proteins, and it is made from soybeans. In feudal era, the cuisine is shifted to emphasize flavor and nutritional aspects to a highly ceremonial and official role. The banquet style of the nobility is introduced called oban. The menus served are dry abalone, jellyfish emono, pickled ume called umeboshi, salt and vinegar for seasoning, and rice. And it is attended by military leaders. Then Honzen-ryori banquet became popularized. Move to the Meiji period, where the feast designed to embrace the Western and world countries in 1854. Emperor Meiji adopts these practices after many believed that the Japanese had a poor physique compared to Westerners. This situation leads to the production of meat and dairy products by the government. This is when the first time in 1000 years people were allowed to consume meat in public. After this ban lifted, the yoshoku term is used. In the beginning, yoshoku is served by altering the Western recipe with adaptation to match the local taste. However, it evolved not only based on European foods over time. The common examples of yoshoku are omurice or omelette rice, Japanese curry, tonkatsu or pork cutlet, Napolitan or Japanese pasta dish. Yoshoku is considered as expensive meal for locals, but when its popularity is grow and the ingredient is widely available, it is affordable for common men. Yoshoku is the cuisine that is commonly practiced until now.
Hi, my name is Wandra Alice Arisha, and I'd like to talk about the characteristics of the Japanese cuisine that makes them distinctive and unique. First, the Japanese dishes offers a variety of the products that mainly emphasize on the seasonal and regional produce of the country. They usually use the ingredients that ripe during the current season. For example, the highlight bamboo shoots during the spring and the chestnut during the falls. Some edible leaves may also be used during the plating to reflect the current season. Second, the Japanese dishes are presented in a presentable way that follows the key plating principle. They usually use a mixture of different colors, patterns, and texture, making their food more attractive and unique. Food art is also popularly practiced in the Japanese dishes by carving the vegetables, fruits, and other foods into different and fun sizes and shapes. Third, the Japanese dishes are very famous for its unique flavor. The rich umami flavor usually comes from the miso, dried shiitake, and the soy sauce, making their food have a stronger aroma and flavor and enhance the taste of the dishes. So how does the geographical factor of Japan determines of what kind of food they eat there? Geographically, Japan is located on an island that is surrounded by the sea. That explains why the main components of the Japanese dishes are mainly from the sea products. For example, the very popular sushi and sashimi are made from the sea products such as fish, squid, and octopus. Second, the terrace mountain with a suitable climate in the Japan allows a farmer to grow crops and making the rice as one of the staple food eaten in the Japan besides noodle. Third, the foreign influence on Japan had also introduced various ingredients that is used in the Japanese dishes. For example, China had introduced the use of the soybean curd consumption and also the soy sauce. Meanwhile, the Dutch introduced the potatoes and corn. The Portuguese introduced the use of the tempura or butter frying, which has now become very popular dish in the Japan. Based on all of those characteristics, that explains why the Japanese cuisines are very famous and popular all around the world.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zati binti Azam, and today I will talk about the most significant food and beverages in Japan. When thinking about the food or beverages in Japan, the one that probably pop out into our mind would be sushi, udon, or tea. Sushi is not only famous among Japanese but has been widely known globally. In Malaysia alone, we can see that there are many restaurants or people that sell sushi nowadays. There are many types of sushi, but most common one with us is nigiri, temaki, and also inari. Next, we will talk about udon. Udon is one of the main top 3 noodles eaten by Japanese. Udon can also be served either hot or cold. And next is, the last one is tea. Tea is very significant among Japanese people because in Japan there is a ceremony that called tea ceremony. Tea ceremony is very important because it represents purity, tranquility, respect, and also harmony. That's all from me. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the Japanese special holiday, which is Hinamatsuri. Hinamatsuri is a seasonal festival that held on the 3rd March to celebrate the girls' happiness and health. According to the custom, during the ancient times, the Japanese people would use straw or the paper dolls and release them into the river and pray that the dolls would take away all the impurities or misfortune away from the daughter. Over time, the act of releasing the paper dolls down into the river has changed into the act of displaying a dolls called hina-nigyo at home. The term hina refers to anything that is small and cute, where nigyo refers to the human shapes. So the hina-nigyo is regarded as human institute to shift all the impurities from the children and guarantee their good health. Along with the display of the hina dolls, there is also a culinary traditions where special dishes are served during Hinamatsuri, and one of them is hishimochi. Hishimochi can refer as a 3-layered diamond-shaped sweet rice cake that is placed on the stand with the hina dolls during Hinamatsuri. This dessert represents the fertility, and each of its color hold special meaning. Next, the second dishes are shirazi sushi, or known as scattered sushi. This type of dishes is served in a bowl, consists of a rice and topped with a variety of colorful ingredients, and must have lotus root, shrimp, and beans as a lucky item. The lotus root is said to give one the power to see what will happen in the future, shrimp as symbol of a long life, and beans for being able to work harder and healthier. The third dishes is sakura mochi. This type of dessert is similar with hishimochi, but it is filled with the sweetened bean paste and being rolled with the edible cherry leaf. The use of cherry leaf is used as a symbol to represent the celebration of a spring, as well as to wish the girls good luck and good health.
Konnichiwa, I'm Adriana. I will tell you what are the special food for festival and feast in Japan. The first one is jinjitsu or nanakusa gayu. Jinjitsu is a rice porridge with the 7 herbs of spring, a traditional food that eaten on the 7th January during the festival of 7 herbs. The festival of 7 herbs or nanakusa no seku was one of the 5 seasonal festivals in Japan. weekday, Japanese people will eat rice porridge accompanied by 7 edible kind of wild fresh herbs. This is due to ensure good health and to ward off evil spirits in the coming new year. The typical 7 herbs that used for making jinjitsu or nanakusa gayu are Chinese celery parsley, nipplewort, shepherd's purse, turnip, cutweed, Japanese white radish, and sheepweed. The second one is sekihan. Sekihan is a rice with red bean that's served on January 15, which it is the last day of New Year celebration. These characteristics of food called oban or okowa, which it is another good luck food. The third one is chimaki dango. It is a glutinous white rice dumpling that wrapped in a bamboo leaf. People in Kyoto usually eat chimako on 5th May, which it is a boys' festival or known as Tango no Seko. The next food that prepared on boys' festival is kashiwa mochi. Kashiwa mochi is a rice cake wrapped with Mongolian oak leaf that prepared with using steamed rice.
Hi, I'm Amira Nahasha. I want to expand on food ethics in Japan. Before begin eating in Japanese household, everyone in the family says "itadakimasu," which means I receive or accept, to express their gratitude as well as to signal that the person is about to start eating. Once the meal is finished, they say "gochiso sama deshita," which means it was indeed a feast, to show respect to the person that made the dishes. It is acceptable to make slurping sound when eating noodles as to express enjoyment and appreciation to the food. Japanese people eating miso soup, which is soup that's served in small bowl by leaf with one hand or two hands and brings it closer to mouth. In Japan, they use chopsticks to bring food closer to mouth rather than bend over the table to reach the food. For instance, when eating rice, they hold the rice ball in one hand and chopstick in the other hand, as well as bring the bowl closer to mouth. Next, hashiyaki, which is chopstick rest, or use the wrapper of chopstick to rest the tip of chopstick to avoid staining the table. It is inappropriate to use the bowl as a chopstick rest, and it considered rude to stick the chopstick standing up into the bowl of rice as considered offered the spirit of that person.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, my name is NORHAYATI. Without further ado, let's proceed to what is the typical food in Japanese people usually eat in a day. Japanese people in majority normally consume 3 meals a day, like most countries. When they consume a large breakfast, then they will be more eager to have a smaller dinner and also lighter lunch to balance the ratios. So when they drink their meal in a day, they can control how much food is consumed daily in a very reasonable way. There is one interesting fact. The average daily calorie intake in Japan is only 2,754 calories, which rank them at 85 in the world. Compared to the first place country, which is United States, their people consume 3,825 calories in a day. Let's see what is their first food that contributes to their calories, which means their breakfast. Breakfast in Japanese is called as Assalamualaikum Hi. They usually eat between 7 AM and 7:30 AM. Usually Japanese people prepare their own food at home because in Japan there is a very hard to find restaurant that serve breakfast. Let's figure out what is their traditional breakfast. First food, as usual, the staple food for Asians is a steamed rice. It is a very popular to eat during breakfast. Sometimes for children they prepare it like porridge. There are 2 common types of rice, which is white rice and brown rice. Secondly is the miso soup. It is an important dish for Japanese breakfast. The common ingredient in miso is tofu, lettuce, and wakame. Next is grilled fish. Literally, this is a very popular feature for breakfast that provide protein in the morning. Their cooking method usually fish is grilled in the oven or fry it on the pan with only a little bit of oil and salt to add some flavor. The famous fish used are salmon and mackerel. Next is natto. It is produced by fermenting the soybean. Not only the fish, this dish also provides high sources of protein and likely to be served together with the rice. However, this dish might take some time for other people to get familiar with its smell and appearance. They also had tamagoyaki, which is basically Japanese omelette. Not to forget the vegetable dish, aka kobachi. Lastly, their favorite choice during mealtime is a green tea. It's often to drink straight with no creamer or dairy or any sugar in it. We go to the second part. How about their lunch meal? There's another interesting fact. Lunch is considered as their least important meal because there is only 2% of them say that their lunch is a favorite meal. The lunch hour usually around between 12 noon and 2 p.m. There is no specific lunch meal because most people are eating out or grabbing quick meals. For example, noodles, sandwiches, rice bowls. Not before that, central boxes are their lunch boxes, which has different sections of food. These type of lunch boxes are often served in school or taken on trips. Finally, at the last part, what is Japanese typical dinner meal? The most significant meal for Japanese citizens is dinner, with 95% from the survey claiming they enjoy dinner the best. 80% of Japanese people eat their dinner at home with their families. It's like their social time with their families, share memories and bond. Dinner in Japan called as pan-gohan, normally consumed between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. It usually consists of meat or fish meal, rice and miso soup. Some delicious, right? So that's all from us explaining about food culture in Japan.